Welcome to 2 Cents Short of a Dollar, the show where we give our 2 cents and keep it 100. We're your hosts. That's Motiz. I'm Rue. Today we got the 2 Cent Awards for what it's worth. Kind of want to go through a recap of maybe for a lot of us, in our opinion, the best year of boxing, and just talk about all the exciting moments and just give out our awards for each. So Mo, let me know if you're ready or if you got any words before we jump right into it.
I'm just gonna say, viewers, definitely stay tuned and let us know, at the end if we're tweaking with our awards. But I think you're gonna be in for a ride for this one. So
All right, cool. So the first one I would say is let's do fight of the year. But for fight of the year, I want you to, if you can, name off your top three and then tell me what the winner is. Let me know if you want me to go first or you want to go first.
I'll let you go first. I'll let you go
Okay.
first.
So fight of the year, I'm gonna have Devin Haney, Vasil Lomachenko in there. I'm gonna have Bam Rodriguez and Sonny Edwards in there. And lastly, I don't know if people forgot about this one, but I did not. And I'm gonna go David Benavidez and Caleb Plant in there. So those are my top
Mm,
three. And as tough as it is, I'm gonna go fight of the year for me, David Benavidez, Caleb Plant. I thought it was an absolute war, a tale of two halves. Caleb dominated the first half. Benavidez just pushed through, and Caleb hung on. He hung on even when it looked like David had him done. He just kept fighting back, doing enough for the ref not to stop it. And I just thought it was an absolute war. Great way to really kick off the year because that was back in March, I think it was.
yep,
So
yep, yep.
let me know what you got.
All right, so man, it's crazy because you got two out of the three that I was thinking about. So my top three is going to be Caleb Plant versus Benavidez, right? I got that as one of the better fights of 2023. I also have Devin Haney versus Lomachenko. However, the last one, which I think is a sleeper for most, and this is a fight that I kind of just happen to just watch a few times, and it's low key. It's not one of the major fights, but the way the comeback was, it was just exceptional. And that was, of course, Lee Wood versus Josh Warrington, where
Mm.
Warrington was winning the fight, and then things took a turn the sixth round, and in the seventh round stopped him with a big shot before the bell rang, So I got that as actually fight of the year for me, in my opinion.
Okay. I think that's a sleeper pick. That's a sleeper pick. I did catch that one.
Mhm.
Um, Next, let's do knockout of the year. And this one, I know right now headlines. It's recency bias.
Right.
A lot of people are saying Jose Valenzuela versus Chris Colbert. Um, so let me know, is that the one you have, or do you have something different?
I have something different. Initially, that's the first thing that kind of came to my mind.
Yeah.
But knockout of the year for me was definitely Fendora versus Mendoza. That's knockout of the year for me, especially the way he slept him,
Yeah.
So that's mine. How about you?
For me, I think this one's a bit of a sleeper. I kind of like Anthony Joshua versus Robert Helenius. And
Mm,
I
mm,
mean, I know Deontay Wilder knocked him out too, but I think it's almost the story behind the AJ one. Everybody's writing off AJ. AJ's lost his confidence. AJ's not this. AJ's not that. And he was already coming off a win this year, and I think it was later in the fight, but when you hear it, man, it's like a real thud, boom.
yeah,
So for me, I'm gonna go ahead and give that one, because it's less drama involved, but it was just so clean when you go back and look at it. You know what I'm saying?
right.
um so I'm gonna go with that for my KO of the year.
All right, all right, all right.
All right, next, fighter of the year, and this one was very tough for me. I want to go first on this one. This one's
All
very
right.
tough, and for me, I'm gonna go fighter of the year is Inoya Inoue.
Mm,
And I know I got killed earlier this year for choosing Stephen Fulton to beat Inoue Inoue. I couldn't have been more wrong, but I do, what I'm saying. It wasn't like, there's some other people out here who just pick based on like race or
yeah,
preference and that's that. I thought the points that I made. I thought those things could have really came to fruition, but they were completely incorrect. But undisputed in just 2 fights at the division after being undisputed. I think he captured undisputed at the end of the calendar year of 2022, and
So
then
1 year.
so just to come back and do it like that again, and even though I won't say he has the single most impressive win of the year, like I said, just to come and say, who has it? I'm coming after them right away and dominate those 2 fighters by stoppages. He's poised to really run that division. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to get off topic here, but the only thing I'm worried about is, he's 30 years old, and it'll be amazing to have him have that big marquee fight before he retires. But it's just who at 22 can give him that fight. I guess we're hoping Kermel Moton probably accelerates very quick and be that young dog coming up. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
just the body of work that he's put in. It would just be amazing to see him have that huge, big name fight. You know what I'm saying? But Inoue Inoue is who I got for fighter of the year. How about you?
Got you. Well, I ain't gonna lie. In a way, that's a great choice. I feel like it's between, in a way, you can name Terrence Crawford, right? You can name, another fighter I'm about to name, right? But I think ultimately it just depends on your rubric, right? In terms of whether or not you're just looking at one single performance to become, undisputed in Terrence Crawford, or, in terms of accomplishments, right? And becoming, undisputed in one calendar year and the number of fights you had within that year, right? In a way, right? And how he just dominated Stephen Fulton, right? And being, he's arguably pound for pound fighter in boxing right now. But I'm gonna go with this pick, and I'm gonna name David Benavidez as my fighter of the year.
I like that one
Reason
a lot.
for that is because I feel like outside of the accomplishment being undisputed, I'm focusing more on the type of talent that he beat, right?
Yeah.
And Caleb Plant, right, who's an exceptional fighter, only really lost at that point in time to Canelo Alvarez, right? And ultimately, Caleb, that was a terrific fight, right? As we kind of listed our top 3 fights of the year. He went ahead, arguably lost the first 6 rounds, but came back and started punishing Caleb Plant, right? Then you have someone that's acclaimed to be the boogeyman, right? At 160 pounds, moved up to fight David Benavidez in Andrade's, and he made him quit on the stool, right? You make a top tier fighter quit on a stool, that is impressive. The way he just kind of just mowed him down and showed him that it was levels. I think ultimately that made, at least for me, David Benavidez, in my honest opinion, fighter of the year, right? So
yeah. All right. So next, I think we got performance of the year, and this one is very, very tough too. So I want you to go first, because I think the criteria could be so many different things. It can be just the style you use, or it could be level of opposition. So I want to hear, who do you have for performance of the year?
So, so I'm gonna give performance of the year to, drum roll. I'm gonna give it to Terrence Crawford, Terrence Bud Crawford.
Well deserved.
Right. And ultimately I would have named him, my fight of the year, but I just think just one fight alone, in the calendar year for me just doesn't do it for me. Especially against, a great adversary in Errol Spence. But of course there are lingering questions there, but that doesn't take away from his performance and what he's done. The way he did it was effortless, right? He just picked Errol Spence apart, whether or not you believe there was something wrong with Errol Spence. It just, the way Terrence Crawford looked, that was probably arguably the most shocking moment for me in all of 2023 related to boxing. So what about you?
So I want to pick something different from you, just because I don't want to pick the same thing, but I'm gonna have to agree. But I'm gonna just throw out what my runner up for you. My runner up was Boots Ennis versus Roman Villa, and it's just for the entertainment factor and the different things Boots done, where he slowed down in real time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was crazy.
So that's gonna be my runner up, just for the whole stylisticness of what Boots did, but just because of everything you said, what Terrence Crawford did, the level of opposition in Errol Spence, how easy he made it look. He beat Errol Spence worse than he's beat any of his other opponents, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Right. And this is probably the best guy that he's fought. So I got to give performance of the year to Terrence Crawford.
Yep.
Then, on that note, from best performance, what do you think is the most disappointing performance this year? As a matter of fact, you went first. Let me go first. Let's.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
For me, the most disappointing performance this year was Regis Prograis.
Okay.
I don't think he won a round. Do you know what I'm saying? And then even though Devin Haney's a superior boxer, he's moving up to 40 to your division to come challenge you for your title. You said, "Listen, I ain't no pushover. I'm the champion." And big puncher, rugged guy. I felt like he had that demeanor. Like, you got to do something, man. You just can't just go out there and lose every single round.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say Regis Prograis most disappointing performance of the year for me.
Okay. Not bad. Not bad. For me, the most disappointing performance of the year goes to Chris Colbert, right? And the reason why I say it, right, is because it's multifaceted, right? He didn't make the adjustments he needed to going into the second fight to fight Rayo, right? He, of course, that first fight was a robbery. Anyone with a brain will tell you that. But coming into the second fight, you would at least think there will be some level of adjustments made to kind of deter or be able to at least somewhat outbox Rayo. But the fight looked almost very similar to the first fight in the opening bell, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what made it even worse was something that he did not even in the ring against his opposition. It was the way he was talking to his coaches, right? Like belittling them, like as if they didn't know what they were doing, right? Like, you guys are panicking, like, it was crazy. And that told me that he wasn't even listening to his coaches, and he thought he knew it all, and then he ended up getting slept. So I think he has the worst performance or most disappointing performance of the year.
I can agree with that. I could definitely agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
What do we have next? Let's say trainer of the year. And this one, I think I'm gonna throw you a curve on this one, but who knows, you might be thinking what I'm thinking. But matter of fact, go ahead. Tell me your trainer of the year.
See, I had someone in mind. Man. So initially I was gonna go with Bill Haney, right? Only because of the fights he was able to get Devin Haney in. And regardless of the outcome with Lomachenko, right? He still was able to give, a great fight in that retrospect, right? And then washed Regis Prograis.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm gonna go with a trainer that has multiple fighters and seems to be on the up and up with those fighters and seems to be progressing them, on the right path, right? And I'm gonna go with Bozy Ennis, right? That's who I'm gonna name as trainer of the year.
Shout out to Bozy.
Yeah, it's low key, low radar, but you got Andy Cruz, and of course you have Jerome Boots Ennis walking through everyone. He's been doing a phenomenal job with them. So my trainer of the year is I'm going with Bozy.
Gotcha. So my trainer of the year, you're probably gonna laugh at this one, but I actually got Jose Benavidez Sr.
You know what's crazy? That was my third option as well because of me naming David Benavidez. But go ahead.
I think he takes a lot of flack for all the talk he does outside of the ring. But before this year, what they say, allegedly David hasn't fought anybody. You can't say that after this year, right? And what did he do? Like I said, the Caleb Plant fight was tough, but he dominated the second half of the fight once he made his adjustments. Andrade fight dominated the fight. Like you said, how impressive is it to make a top fighter quit on the stool? So I'm gonna go Jose Benavidez Sr. trainer of the year.
Okay.
Yeah. We're not gonna talk about Junior though.
That's the only reason I didn't name him trainer of the year because
I'll say this though about Junior. He finished the fight against Charlo, and I know Charlo's been out for a while, but Charlo's a much bigger guy to me, just a much superior fighter. And for Charlo not to get him out of there, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I give him sympathy for that.
Okay.
All right. So on the next one now, let's get into prospect of the year. So this one's a little tricky for me because, like, when you say a prospect, what's going to be your definition of a prospect?
See, that's the most difficult part. This is probably the criteria here. that was kind of like difficult for me, because I think when you're going off a prospect, you're probably going based off a certain number of fights, but that those number of fights can differ depending on who you speak to, right? So I would say someone with less than 10 fights, I would say. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. Like for me, prospect of the year, I'm just going to just default to, Andy Cruz, right? Because
Okay.
I think that was just the safest option for me. But I don't know if it's like that for anyone. But I think he's probably a clear favorite because he's well known, gold medalist, right? And he's been looking pretty good in all his fight. It looks like he's been progressing, unless you're choosing someone like Carmel Moulton because he's under the Mayweather camp or
So for
someone
me,
else.
I was thinking like David Morrell because
David, okay.
but that's what I'm saying. I don't know because he doesn't have a ton of fights. Yes, he's calling out Benavidez. Yes, people are saying they want to see it, but it's just
Okay.
because this new guy on the scene, And I mean, the people the people he's fighting are probably what C-level fighters right now.
Yeah, they're not, they're not major fighters, and he doesn't really have that many fights, even though I believe he has over 10
maybe
10 fights.
non-fights.
Maybe 10,
he,
maybe at most.
he might have non-fights. You know what
Or
I'm
maybe
saying?
non. Yeah, you might be right. I would probably consider him a prospect. The reason why his name is also being brought out is because with that 168-pound division, it's not that many, individuals that could compete against David Benavidez, and his name has been he's been making a lot of noise. So I'll take that. That's not a bad thing.
His last fight did make his 10th fight, but I think he's more so known because he had a great, I think, amateur. But like before he turned pro, I know Cuban style. So I feel like he was known more before he came pro. So he came pro, they're like, okay, this is a hot prospect right here. But I still think he's fighting probably C-level fighters. I know he's calling out Benavidez and whatnot, but that's what prospects do. Even like Andy Cruz after his last win is saying he'll fight the top level guys. You know what I'm saying? So,
but I think with Andy Cruz is not going to make as much noise only because there's a volume of bodies still waiting for him. Whereas in the 168-pound division, right? How many top tier candidates do we have? So now because it's less bodies, you can there's more of a flashlight on.
Yeah.
But I ain't gonna lie, that's actually a good pick. I overlooked. I definitely overlooked him for sure. That's a great pick. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, cool. And then the last one I got for you is upset of the year.
I'm gonna let you go first in that one.
All right, so this one's kind of tough because a lot of like just factors can go into it, but I'm gonna just go out there and I'm gonna say Deontay Wilder losing to Joseph Parker. And this is nothing to take anything away from Parker, but Deontay's been in fights before where he hasn't been a superior boxer, but you just kind of know that right hand's gonna land, it's gonna come behind the left, and it's gonna stop this guy. And I waited all fight for that to happen, and it never happened. And this is another instance where I think Deontay probably didn't win a round. And then why it's such a big upset is because it messed up the fight that we wanted to see. We wanted him to win. And then you know what? People were talking about AJ. They was like, AJ better hold up his half of the bargain here. He better beat Otto Wallin. He better beat Otto Wallin and not mess up the dream matchup. And lo and behold, it was Deontay Wilder to take the L and AJ to go out there and handle business. So I'm going to say that is upset of the year for me.
So I'm going to make this quick. I also have Deontay Wilder and Joseph Parker. That bout being upset of the year, the way Joseph Parker and I think the way he just steamrolled Deontay Wilder in the scorecards was just crazy, right? And like you said, just the history behind that, like he effed up the money. So I'm gonna go with that as well. So that's easy. That was an easy pick for that.
Okay, cool. So let me run through it for the audience one more time. So we got fight of the year, KO of the year. Hold on, let me look at the list so I don't mess it up. We got fight of the year, KO of the year, fighter of the year, performance of the year. Then we have biggest disappointing performance of the year, trainer of the year, prospect of the year, and upset of the year. So hop in the comment section, go through the list. Tell us who you guys got for all of the categories, some of the categories, whatever works for you, but definitely we want to hear the feedback. It's been a hell of a year. Really appreciate all the support we got this year. Growing pretty fast. We got some more hot things coming in 2024. Make sure you stay on this journey with us. So Mo, go ahead and take us out.
Get us to 1 million subs, but continue to support us. We appreciate the feedback that you guys provide to our channel. Keep the engagement up. Like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate y'all and see you in 2024.
And we out.